Rick Dior, and today's lesson is going to be about hand and foot technique and coordination. So, if you take my book, this book, and go to page 121, you'll see a hand-foot coordination chapter. So this is roughly 9 pages of exercises for developing your snare drum or hands and bass drum technique while keeping the hi-hat steady on some sort of ostinato. So this is really important for soloing. It's important for trading fours. It's important for grooves, for evenness. There's a lot of written out things that you'll see from time to time, which are published music with snare drum, bass drum parts together. It's very important for that as well. When I work with young students on this, or I used to work with young students on this kind of thing, I would use the first couple pages of stick control and have them do all the rights with the hands, and the lefts would be the foot, and then backwards. So then the rights with the foot and the lefts with the hands. And they could do that unison or alternating. So in other words, they might just put the hi-hat on this kind of pattern, just straight 4 quarter notes, and play. Those are some exercises from the first page of stick control that you can use. So that's a very much elementary way of doing this. The next step would be to take 16th notes and triplets and mix those together. So that's what's in my book. I have a chapter, as I said, on the 16th notes and then triplets, and then broken rhythms, which means that you're leaving out some of those 16ths or triplets. So first it's all 16ths, then it's all triplets, then it's broken, and then they're all added together into several different solos. So today I'm going to play some of those little solos for you. I won't play the whole thing since we're limited on time, but I will tell you that those solos are all available on the CD that comes with the book, so you can hear those. At the end of this video, I'll post some of the exercises so you could see what I'm playing, and maybe even, if I could figure out how to do it, I'll post those while I'm playing. So we'll see about that. So this first exercise is from page 121, and it's using one bass drum note and several 16ths on the hands. So the first line looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see that's pretty basic. You do it that way first, then the next step is to play it around the drums. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you saw there some alternating, some unisons. Be creative. Every time you do it should be completely different. We'll do it a little faster now, and I'll do a little more of it. Okay, we'll see how far I get. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's basically the gist of that. So another thing you could do is play a groove for 4 bars and then play 4 bars of this, sort of like a solo. I'll show you what that sounds like. 1, 2, 3. so that was the first 3 lines trading 4s with the exercises on the page. So groove 4 bars, page 4 bars. And you see I'm mixing it up. I even put my hi-hat in a different place. I put it on 2 and 4 the second time so you could hear that. So let's talk about that, hi-hat patterns. In the book, there's several pages of just hi-hat patterns. You could do anything. I would suggest at first learning it on all 4, like we just did, quarter notes. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then upbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is how that sounds. Here's the first line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's upbeats. And then you could try to do some splash patterns, which would be the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then on the upbeat, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, you get the idea. It's not simple, but it takes a long time. So I would do spend a week or 2 just on one exercise, doing one hi-hat pattern. Then do the same exercise with a different hi-hat pattern. And eventually, you'll get it. So the next exercise, number 2 on the same page, 121, now uses 2 bass drum notes. So in other words, all the bass drum notes are 2 notes, okay? So let's try that slowly. You can hear the first line. I'll play it slow with just quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's upbeats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's pretty tricky. It'll give you some trouble probably because the double has to meet that hi-hat. And for some reason, this is very common to all of my students. It's very awkward when they have to play that double with that hi-hat playing on the ands, all right? So I'm going to play through this for you slowly, and I'll do the hi-hat splashed on the ands. That sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a really tricky one to do that. So one thing I also like to do is turn the snares off and play these quicker. So it sounds pretty cool. Let's see if I can do it. We'll do the hi-hat on ands of splashes. So it'd be 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Almost lost it there for a minute. Great. So now the next page, 122, has both of those exercises combined. So it's pretty much everything from those exercises put into one big exercise. So again, first you start, you play one line at a time, trade 4s with the groove with yourself, and then you'll try to do the whole thing. All right? So let's turn the page, and then we have broken 16ths. So in other words, rest, 16ths with rests. This is page 123. So we'll do this a little slower. I don't know if I'll be able to get through the whole thing. We'll try. Here we go. Put the snares back on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's most of it. Very, very tricky stuff, especially the upbeats there. You saw the last thing that I played, those upbeats. That you'll hear that a little bit with the splashes. I'll try it here. Here it goes. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is line 8. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so I try to tripletize them a little to give them a little bit of a feel there. So that's most of page 123. The next page now will be triplets. So you can do those again, more of a jazz thing where you're playing upbeats or 2 and 4 with the hi-hat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Get the idea. And the next one would be, again, just like the original exercise, is 2 on each. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a handful, all right, especially with that hi-hat on 2 and 4. And again, then we go on and we have a whole page of the combined singles and doubles in triplets. And then, of course, broken triplets, same thing. 1, 2, 3. So forth, okay? You get the idea. Then the next page combines sixteenths and triplets. This is some of the most difficult stuff in this section. So what you're going to do is going to play 16th notes and triplets together. Start out again with your hi-hat on all 4. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the first, a little more than half of it. Very challenging stuff. And, try to relax, and each time you do it's going to be different. You don't have to play it perfectly through it. It's just to get your solo ideas in place. All right, so it's more of a vocabulary. Just like anything, soloing, the more words, like if you were speaking, the better you would probably come across, the more intelligent you would come across. So music's the same way. The bigger your vocabulary, the better your technique, you have an opportunity to express yourself better. So this is about rhythmic and technical vocabulary. Now the next page of that 128, we're dealing with the really difficult stuff. It's the broken triplets and 16ths. So I'll play a little of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. forth. That's a real long one. One interesting thing on lines 9, 8 and 9, we get into some, actually 7 through 9, we get into some tricky rhythmic stuff. Let me just play this for you. I get a lot of questions about these lines. See if I can do it. Here's line 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was just playing on the snare drum. Extremely difficult. So that would probably be the last thing you do. The final page is just kind of a crazy Frank Zappa-ish accumulation of 30-second note rhythms. So I recommend, I'm not going to play for you today because I'd have to actually practice it for a while. I remember when I was recording the book, I had to work on this thing for a week. So if you want to hear that one, you'll have to listen to the CDs in the book. Now, the next video I'm going to make of this, because this is only part 1, will be the way to work on this using rudimental etudes. So stay tuned for that one. That will use the Pratt and the Wilcoxon books to actually work on this same kind of concept. Just a little bit different using ostinatos and substituting rolls with your bass drum and drags and flams with your bass drum. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.